Crit, a tabletop role-playing podcast made for people who know what they're doing by the time their turn comes up.
So true. I literally just made a TikTok about that. That is one of my biggest pet peeves. And to be fair, people always come back with, "Well, something could change at the last second and throw off
No,
what you were
no.
planning." I'm like, no, because by the end of that person's turn, even the person right before you, the end of their turn, you should have an idea, at least an idea of what you want to do, or maybe a couple ideas. I don't know. It's a
Yeah,
pet peeve. It's a problem.
I never understood it. I mean, as I'm normally a GM, my turns in when I'm an actual player,
Mhm.
they happen so quickly because I've planned about 7 different things I can do
Yeah.
by the time my turn's ended. So I'm just watching people when it comes up. It's like, okay, I do this, I do this, I do this. I'm done.
Mhm.
And then it'll get to someone else and be like, okay, so I'm gonna start. Yeah. What's
Oh,
that spell I
my
had?
favorite one. My favorite one is, oh, it's my turn. Like, put your phone down, play the game.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. It's just some people they don't.
Why do I feel like we're both just in anger mode today? Like rage.
I'm in anger mode. I am. I
I'm
woke up in anger mode.
I woke up exhausted. I hate waking up exhausted. I understand like being tired at the end of a day, but you shouldn't wake up exhausted. Like, I mean, I had a lot of fun last night. We went to a wedding, but still,
Fair
still,
enough.
still.
Yeah, I'm. Yeah, today it's just. Yeah,
No,
I've got no patience whatsoever.
no.
If I were running today, I'd be like, just hurry the fuck
I
up.
I am running today. So here's the problem. I'm running today. I forgot that I was running today until last night.
Hmm.
And I'm just like, oh, okay. So I'm gonna go to this wedding, then Cheesecake Factory, because who doesn't pass up, or who passes up Cheesecake Factory when it's on the way home? Do y'all have those over there?
I don't think so. They're not commonplace. If there are some,
Oh,
they'd be like in London. I think we need. I think I need to investigate whether Cheesecake
you need to
Factory.
look that up because went there, did that. Um, it's just a vibe. It's an experience. I'm not even gonna say they have the greatest cheesecake, to be honest, because I like one better. But but no, like I love their food. I love the vibes. But then yeah, like we were getting ready for the wedding. God was like, "You remember we have inmates tomorrow, right?" I'm like, "Oh yeah." And then he's like, "And you're GMing tomorrow, right?" I'm like, "Oh yeah." Like, thankfully, the entire story, like I already know what's gonna happen, but I was not like mentally prepared. I'm like, "Oh shit, I gotta get my stuff together." So it is what it is. It's fine.
I don't believe the Cheesecake Factory has.
That needs to be on your like visit America bucket list. You got to go to the Cheesecake Factory.
They
Sam just commented in the chat, Cheesecake Factories are a weird food fever dream. It's true because
fair
like
enough.
I had some amazing like southwestern food, but then they've got some great pasta. Like it's weird. It is weird, Sam. Like there's just so many options to pick from and they're giant. So, it's an experience. It's an experience for sure.
So apparently they've got some products which are available in the UK, but I don't think
What?
there's an actual.
What
Um,
products? Like cheesecake or cream cheese or cookies
um,
or
I'm just reading it now. Cheesecake Factory, American dessert chain. The Cheesecake Factory has launched a range of premium products into the UK grocery, convenience, and food service
Oh, I'm
sectors.
thoroughly curious now. Someone get a hold of Couch. Couch would know. So, I've decided since we always talk about food on this podcast, no matter what, right? We need to change the name to like I don't know, something involving food. Like still too legit to crit, but there needs to be food involved. I don't know.
No,
Yeah. You need to change
no,
like the dice icon to maybe like a piece of pie
not happening.
or a waffle square like our
Not
t-shirt.
ha- Not
Just saying.
happening.
I'm just
No,
saying. I'm just saying.
no. We always end up talking about food
We
because we just
do.
like food. But
We do. The
we'll
thing
do
is,
another podcast about food.
ugh. I have
Um,
taken bribes from players with food. I'm not ashamed to admit it. I had a player that's like, hey, if I bring cookies, can I get an extra inspiration point? I'm like, absolutely.
no, I'm incorruptible.
Mm.
You can. I'll take food.
Well, of
I'll
course
take
you
food
are.
off
You can't
players.
corrupt the already corrupt.
No, if I give you this, can I get an extra? No, you can fuck off.
If it's food, that's the only thing.
And
If it's food.
just because you had the gall to ask, I will tax you that food.
That's funny.
I'm a ruthless dictator when it comes to my table. And by the way, I just want to kind of add the fact that that is a joke because I know what fucking Threads is like.
What do you mean? Oh, I've never had anybody comment on anything we've said on the show.
Oh, I remember that time Johnny went something like, "Oh, I figured out how to make Strahd invincible for 10 rounds." And
They
fucking
ate him. Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
I mean, then they had to deal with me.
You're not
Uh,
wrong. You're not wrong. But okay, so you're a ruthless dictator at your table. Have you run anything this week? Did you run anything?
I have not. I
Oh,
have not.
shame on you.
It was my partner's birthday.
Oh,
So
happy birthday!
we went and did fancy things. We went to the top of well, not to the top. We went to the 35th floor of the Shard in London
Okay.
for an afternoon tea.
That's so goddamn British and adorable.
Afternoon teas are banging. I'm sold on afternoon teas. So I don't know. Do you get them over there? Is that
We have
a
tea
common
whenever we
thing?
want. Like, I don't. Why is it?
No. Afternoon tea is a type of restaurant reservation, right?
Okay.
So basically, you get tea, obviously.
Yeah.
That's all part of it. But then you
Okay.
get like an assortment of sandwiches, cakes, sweet treats, and it is so much fucking food.
So yes, actually, we do have that in the Americas, but it's completely different theme, same concept, but different theme and time of day. Brunch is a big goddamn thing over here. Like,
Yeah, brunch is big here as well.
yeah, like our afternoon tea, like, is our brunch, and it's like mimosas and avocado toast. It's over the top. Like
Yeah,
people
I
get
mean,
dressed up, and like you said, the reservation, they get dressed up, and it's a huge thing, and I'm like,
yeah, I mean,
mm.
it is a type of experience that restaurants sell.
Huh.
And they're all pretty much similar in structure. You go, you sit down, you get your tea, as many refills as you want, and then you get normally like a 3-tier sort of tower, as it were, where you got sandwiches on the bottom.
That's
You've
so
got the
cute.
middle, which is kind of like your scones and your savories, as it sorry, not scones, savories. Then you get scones, and then you get your sweets.
Huh.
And there's only like about like 3-4 sandwiches per person, 2 or 3 savories, a couple of sweets per person, but it ends up being so much fucking food. And
Huh.
we went to this one in the Shard, which is like
I
a
just Googled that, by the way. That's
big
like,
building
yeah.
in London. And I'm not gonna say it was the cheapest of dates, but fuck me, was it good.
It looks amazing. Like I was looking at the chart, like pictures that I'm going, oh shit. Okay, that's like
So yeah,
fancy.
we were on the 35th floor of that, and I got some amazing pictures. And yeah, so that was basically it.
I feel like now we need to make a game like with afternoon tea mechanics.
Possibly, I mean,
Like,
there are games where you can play restaurant stuff. I think
yeah.
there's one about where you've got to do pizza, so you could do a similar thing. You just basically change the flavoring of it.
Huh.
So yes,
Uh,
I did not do any gaming related stuff,
that's fair.
but
I mean, you're about to potentially.
I'm about to.
Potentially.
And but we'll talk about that next week.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we're about to play get some inmates recorded. Actually, I don't know if I did. Yes, straight after we recorded last week, I went and met with Couch and the guys from Crossing the Nerdverse.
Yeah, you. I was about to say because you talked about that. Talked about
Yes,
it.
we did.
Talked about it.
We did our Halloween episode of that.
Ooh.
Fantastic. We've got like it's Blades in the Dark. We're using those mechanics, but we've all got our own little weird and wonderful sort of setting, which is similar to like Nightmare Before Christmas, where every sort of holiday town
Yep.
sort of thing, and we're
Love
kind
that.
of leaning into that. And it was a phenomenal time. It was a lot of fun. Both episodes are out, so if you want to check them out. Check out Blades in the Dark as a system. Watch me butcher it, and check out just the guys from Crossing are such a fucking fun bunch to play with. Check it out.
I'll have to look at that. I'll have to watch that because I have wanted to run a holiday themed game, but I really think I want to run a Mutants and Masterminds holiday themed game.
Yeah,
where the superheroes are actually powered via the holiday.
Nice.
Yeah, we'll see how that actually develops, but
nice, that could work.
It could be a disaster too, but it could work. We had our Halloween game, and it was a surprise game. It was one shot. All we did was we requested a Halloween game and showed up, and it was spectacular. We didn't know what we were doing. We showed up. The minute game started, we were handed our character sheets and had a mini powwow with the GM, Connell, and found out on the spot who we were playing, what we were playing, what the goal was, what was happening. And it was fabulous. Dark Universe original monsters. So, a creature from the Black Lagoon.
Okay, yeah.
League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, that vibe. But it was it's modern day, and we were all either descendants of the original creatures or somehow had their powers through some other way. And we were being hunted, so it's time to hunt the hunters. And it was so hilarious. And John, because I know you love Supernatural, you'll appreciate the twist at the end. We're fighting these basically assholes. It's a bunch of assholes. We're fighting them, and we're going monster mode. And it was just smash and dash, and there were so many hints to other popular Halloween characters that were just it was fun. It was lighthearted and fun. And then all of a sudden this classic American rock music comes on, and because Connell was using his phone, started playing song, and instantly me and one of the other players looked at each other and we knew where he was going with this, because he's like, yeah, and this the sports American car, old Mustang. It was a Mustang comes running in. Enough. So he tweaked it because it wasn't the boys, it was the girls. It was two sisters. Yeah. So he gender bent the whole thing, and it was fun. It was fucking hilarious. And it got to the point, me and one of my girls, Megan, she and I were driving home together, and she's like, that was so much fun. I'm like, I know, right? He's like, you think we could talk him into doing a Christmas one with the same characters? So now we might have a holiday, one shot continuous game somehow. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that's basically what we've been doing with Crossing the Nerdverse. We started last Christmas. We did a Valentine's one, and then obviously we did a it was more like Valentine's, Easter sort of thing.
Oh, like a spring.
Spring. Yeah.
Okay.
And obviously now we've done Halloween, and the next one we're gonna do is back to Christmas. Nice. So we're gonna bring the whole thing sort of full circle.
Okay, cool. I'm here for it.
Yeah,
really fun.
And plus, Blades in the Dark, it's a fantastic game anyway.
Well, I haven't played it.
I think you'd enjoy it. I'm
sure I would. It's so funny because there's mainstream games, right? Like D&D, and then there's indie games that are still mainstream because it's all the indie games that everybody else plays. You know what I mean? It's they're alternatives that I have not played. And so I get in this mentality of man, I haven't really played any games. I don't really, but then I actually look at my list of repertoire I've played. I'm like, oh no, I played a shit ton of systems. They're just old. I'm okay. So then I feel a little bit better. I'm like, okay, no, it's okay. It's okay to not know what everyone's talking about.
No, I mean, Blades in the Dark is phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's just, it works for what it needs to do. It's a really weird way of putting it, but it has an objective, and it fulfills it massively well. Which
why does it sound like the worst review from a girlfriend after the first night having sex? It worked well for what it was supposed to do.
But I mean, have you never experienced that, where there is a game which doesn't quite fit its intention? Where because of the mechanics or the availability of the mechanics and the way that people play it, it kind of falls apart.
Shadowrun.
Pathfinder. I mean, for me, Pathfinder 2e. That's
yeah,
It
that's
does
fair.
it does what it does really well, but at the same time,
Yeah.
it kind of fails on the let's make it narrative, let's make it,
What the fuck?
and it does require a lot of extra work from the GM and from the players.
No, that's
Whereas
fair.
Blades in the Dark, you can rely purely on the system and get that experience, get the intended experience without the extra legwork.
That's fair.
And I think you have to play it to kind of understand that concept.
Yeah. What Blades of the Dark came from something. Like every game comes from something originally. What was that like the shoot off from?
Very loosely. It's taken a couple of cues from Powered by the Apocalypse.
Oh, okay. All right.
But
I was like, because I remember having that conversation, I think on Threads or reading it somewhere. Like, not that it was bad or anything. It's just like I said, every game comes from somewhere. Unless, it's some batshit crazy acid. Oh my god. The Monsters game. I want to oh fuck. Yeah. One of
what
my dear
Monsters
friends.
game?
One of our dear friends who did the Street Wolves game that I desperately want to talk to. He's coming out with a game that he's created where it's monster truckers trying to survive like futuristic apocalyptic wastelands basically.
Are you talking about the person that's going to be on the show on the 10th of November?
Probably, yeah. Yeah,
Yes.
I've been waiting. I've been waiting.
Yeah,
I've been desperate. I'm so excited.
yeah. I've been
Yeah,
emailing back and forth with Paul,
fantastic.
and it's most likely going to be the 10th of November. When he
Awesome.
comes on, he's going to talk to us about Street Wolves, and he's going to talk to us about his new game.
Street Wolves is cool. Like I've been like keeping my eye on Street Wolves with this monster truck one. Like it's my jam. It's my jam. I'm excited. I'm so ready for it. But yeah.
Yes, I
Oh
mean,
hey. Sorry, I just saw in the chat. Connell's buddy Tanner is running his first Delta Green game right now. What would your advice be for someone running their very first Delta Green game? I'm curious.
ooh,
Yeah.
don't over prep. Don't
Ooh.
over prep. Be reactive. Wait for the players to tell you what they're doing and bounce back with that. Don't try and steer your players in a direction, because the freedom of choice lends to the atmosphere really well.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if you're trying to run a horror game and you're trying to kind of guide the players in a direction, it takes away that fear element. Whereas if a player goes, "This is the choice I made and this is happening to me," it's horrifying. So yeah, let the players fuck around. Have an
Connell, make sure
idea.
he knows that. I was in this one person's game once. I was in a Pathfinder game, and that was an experience. So that's good advice, though. That's good advice. I think it's good advice for any game, for the most part, to be honest.
I don't know. I think there are games where there has to be some guidance.
Oh yeah.
I think there are games. I mean, don't get me wrong, Delta Green, there has to be some guidance, because not everybody you're playing with is a detective. Not everybody you're playing with knows how to do like the procedural sort of things. So you have to kind of you have to like feed that as well. Just to kind of go, bear in mind your character's an FBI agent. They would think to possibly check this. They would possibly, at least facilitate. But in terms of what the players do, let them go mad, let them go wild, let them go down and out. You can always bring them back,
I
and you
think
can.
I think I drove Craig nuts with that because Craig was like, "Tell me what you want to do." I'm like, "No." He's like, "Tell me what you want to do." I'm like, "No," because it wasn't time. Like Atlas knew what she wanted to do, but in character, it's like that wouldn't make sense, and we'd be so broken and cheating. I'm not gonna do that. So it's like, wait.
Yeah, Delta Green is, again, it's that and Blades in the Dark, my two favorite systems, hands down. I haven't yet found anything that compares, and they both cater in two very different directions.
That's cool. It's very cool. I don't know if I have a favorite system. I have a favorite like dice mechanic, but I don't know if I have a favorite system. Mm, I don't want to say Mutants and Masterminds. I don't want to, because I don't want that to be the only game that I ever talk about. But is the one I played the most. So I think
Hmm.
that I do lean towards like that's my comfort game. I don't know if I'd say it's my favorite system of all time, but
Hmm.
it's definitely my comfort game, which I think may sound the same. I think they're two very different things depending on thin line, thin line.
I mean, a system and a game. You've got to kind of
Hmm.
separate those two. Those
Yeah.
two sort of aspects because I've fallen out of love of Pathfinder Second Edition,
Hmm.
but Mistress Winter is wanting to run a Pathfinder Second Edition game, and I
Hmm.
got the invite. I'm like, fuck yeah,
Yeah. Well,
yeah. I
because
don't like the
again,
system, but
we've
the
we've
game is separate.
we've talked about this before, and Connell said it too a couple of times on when he's been on not only stream but like in his comments and stuff. Like the game that you sign up for is usually yes, obviously the system has something to do with it. Like no one's gonna play a game that they hate the system in. But like when I signed up to sit at a table with someone, it's because I want to play under that GM's direction. Like
Yeah,
it's very much like going to the movie. Like we've talked about this a lot, where it's kind of like the GM's the director, the game is the movie, the system is how they shot it. You know, and so it's one of those things where like because a lot of people would argue like, oh well, you can't always tell the difference. I'm like bullshit. Everybody knows what a Michael Bay movie looks like. Like it's one of those things where it's kind of like he uses certain shots that everybody can technique. But anyways, my point is like yeah, like you know, if you enjoy the table, if you enjoy the GM, like the game can be separate from the system.
I
Uh,
mean,
yeah,
there are systems that
extra.
I'm not a massive fan of.
Oh
There are
yeah,
systems that
everybody knows
I
that.
don't, but for particular GMs, I'd yeah, 100%.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
if it's someone I want to play with, and it's someone who I know provides a good game.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. Fabula Ultima isn't one of my favorite systems.
But Couch is such a good GM with it.
I don't
Like,
play. See, I don't play Fabula Ultima for Fabula Ultima.
no,
I
Couch
play it
sells
because
it.
I play it for couch. And to be
Yeah.
fair, I don't think I'd play Mutants and Masterminds for Mutants and Masterminds. I play it because
So
Connell's GMing.
yeah, I have played Mutants and Masterminds with other GMs. It is not the same. Not to say it's bad. It's not the same. So again, I think that like different GMs can attach themselves to different systems and create a game that you can't experience with the same system in a different GM. And I think that that's kind of part of the magic of the game and like our hobby is that it's kind of like, yes, everybody can read this Strahd. Okay. I have seen so many people read the Curse of Strahd, translate it different, run it different.
Hmm.
Like, it's one of those things where it's kind of like what people take away from that is so cool because but that's my point is literally any GM can read something the same and take something completely separate away from it. And I love that about this hobby because it is like I love certain systems and games under one GM, not under a different one. And vice versa. Like there's some games and systems that I'm like, I would never ever play that, like Connell just said in chat. But if certain GMs did it, I'd be like, I'm here for that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
You know, I mean, I'd again. I mean, as much as I dislike D&D, I wouldn't be against playing it for the right person.
Yeah.
You know, if
I
the right
don't
person went, look, I'm throwing together a D&D game. Do you want in? If I like the table that I'm going to be sitting down with,
Mhm.
if I like the person that's going to be running it, it's like, yeah, fuck it. I'll roll up a character and we'll see what we got. And
Speaking
the
of tables,
chances are,
I love tables. Like, I know it sounds weird.
as
Uh,
in, are we now talking about the physical manifestations of
now
a
we went from
table?
food to furniture. No, like I love table dynamics, team dynamics. Like I know it is super popular to play with the same circle of people over and over again. Because it's comfortable, you enjoy playing with each other. But like every now and then there's this spark of gold where it's like you get this completely random group of people that have never talked to each other, never seen each other, and it's just like, what just happened? And it's brilliant. And I love it. And I need more of that in my life. Like it's very refreshing. Like it's good. It's very good.
I,
Stefan! Stefan just came into the chat. Sorry. ADD moment.
no worries, no worries. I'm just gonna.
We were just talking about GMs. So Stefan is the perfect example of that too. Like Covenant Crucible, I don't know if I could have the attention span for that game. Like if Connell ran it. No offense, Connell. But like Stefan runs it beautifully. I mean, granted, I would hope so. It's literally his system. But yeah.
Yeah, I need some more Covenant Crucible in my life.
Yeah, we're supposed to schedule it. I got scheduled out the rest of the year on my Discord channel. We're gonna have, I think, 2, 3 more games for the rest of the year, and then it's a break. So
Uh, I just need to respond to Stefan. I don't know what guns you're talking about, Stefan. I don't own any.
sun's out,
I'm
guns
not.
out.
I'm not a card carrying member of the NRA
Also,
or
there's no
anything like
sun
that.
over there.
There isn't. There isn't any
No,
suns.
John
No.
is darkness.
I am darkness.
He is the night. He is Batman.
That's it. Yes.
I almost bought a phone case that had like the original Batman movie logo on it. It looked like a VHS tape.
Nice. Okay.
I
That's
almost
cool.
got it. I was like, but it's not worth $40. I'm sorry. Like in this economy,
A phone. I don't understand how a phone case can cost $40.
I don't. That
nowadays.
exactly.
About,
I'm
even
like,
our shit. Even if we were to do a phone case,
oh
it
yeah,
would be
no,
$40.
no. Yeah, I don't.
Speaking of which, I need to do a phone case.
Yeah, you do need to do a phone case.
Yeah,
with glitter. Make sure it's a glitter phone case.
What glitter? I
Because
don't like
everything needs
glitter.
to be shiny. It needs to be shiny.
No, my kid was here a couple of weekends ago, and she had glitter, and I'm still fucking finding it.
I was just about to say glitter is the best way to find a murderer or like someone who breaks into your house.
Yeah.
Have random glitter bombs ready to go off, like booby traps, and that way, if you ever see someone with glitter on them randomly, catch your killer. Not that your killer be breaking into your house and then coming back later to hang out. Well, maybe, I don't know. Like,
you never know.
You never know.
Okay, so while we're talking about mechanics, again, while we're talking about mechanics that we like and mechanics that we don't like, dislike.
Glitter mechanic, yeah.
How about combat? All right, let's talk about combat as a mechanic in systems. Now, obviously, some systems it is a lot more prevalent, and it takes a lot more bandwidth of the book. All right.
Okay.
Recently, there was a bit of an uproar because someone said something about D&D, and people got all fucking pissy about it. But there was an element of truth to it where there is a lot of emphasis on in D&D as a system.
Yeah.
On combat, and Pathfinder's just exactly the same. So what combat mechanics have you encountered that you think are worthy of mentioning? Because obviously we all know the D&D Pathfinder shit. We all know that. So let's kind of, they're great, but let's focus on other things. Let's focus on other, not necessarily combat, but encounter resolution mechanics.
I don't like it when there's not combat mechanics. Like, I'll just, as a personal preference, personal taste, if it's like a story time from combat, like that's fine. But then it's not a game. Who was it? Gamer Jax, I think, just recently on Threads we were talking about like people are allowed to have their own opinion, and he made me die laughing because he's like, people take it too seriously. They think their opinions are like god level because like their opinion is the only right opinion, and we're just joking about how like people just need to relax and enjoy playing the game. And he literally ended the whole thing with like, because let's be honest, we're sitting around a table playing pretend. That's what we're doing. And that made me laugh so hard because I was like, holy shit, he's right. Like we're just playing pretend with our friends. And I love that. I love that so much. But at the same time, like, I think that's why I'm just slightly broken in like the TTRPG community, because I like to have like a game element. Like, there needs to be something. And we talked about this with Kids on Bikes, because remember how I was like, nobody could tell me what the actual like mechanic was, and then you're like, no, there is one. I'm like, okay, cool. Now I want to try it. But I think
I think even the most sort of, to use phrase in another sort of parlance, the RP heavy sort of games, they've all got mechanics.
They do, but I've actually encountered a bunch of indie games or people who are trying to create their own game system where literally it's like well, here's the combat mechanic only if you feel like it. Like, oh, well, like this is the mechanic, but if you can convince me that you don't actually have to roll for damage, then you don't have to. And I'm like, you just got shot. Like, like unless there's obviously Obviously, you jump behind a car, you have superpowers, a shield. There's always an exception. I understand that. But for me, it's like I need something to be able to like understand. So household, for example, I struggled with household for a bit when I first started reading it
Hmm.
because their combat. I grew up on 5e, not grew up. No, but I grew up in the game world on 5e, right?
Yeah, no, that's
So like for me, certain weapons have a different power to them, right? Obviously, if I stab you with a pin needle, John, that's not going to hurt as bad if I stab you with like a flippin' knife out of my kitchen. Okay. So like that's the mentality I grew up with. But household introduced a new concept for me where it was like the weapons don't make or break the damage. Like the weapon has nothing to do with it because it's more about the success of the roll because it's a pool system, right? So
hmm.
it's one of those things where you can make a basic, a critical, an impossible, different levels of successes will create, therefore, a different amount of stress to the other character. And it's really based on you and your skills and talents based off the other person's skills and talents. So I like that, and I didn't realize I liked it because for me, you have someone untrained pick up a sword, they're not going to make the same amount of damage as a swordsman who picks up a sword. Like, yeah, obviously they can put the pointy end in the other guy, but I was kind of like, okay. So it took the element of like crunchy numbers out of it, but left the game element of like,
Hmm.
okay, how successful is my role versus their role versus like, okay. And you just had to kind of keep going back and forth. And I really appreciated that. That was really cool.
Hmm.
So
I mean, Blades in the Dark doesn't have necessarily a combat mechanic. It uses the same resolution it uses for everything.
mhm.
However, I like the way that they do the sort of inventory and how that applies to stuff like damage. So, for example, with Blades in the Dark, you don't roll per action because if there's one thing that I'm growing wary of in
Mhm.
this hobby is the systems that are actions. Okay, you've got this action and that action and that action. I'm getting tired of that. And
Hmm.
Pathfinder is a prime fucking example.
Yeah.
Whereas Blades in the Dark is more like, okay, so what do you want to accomplish? All right, so these guys have opened fire on you. What do you want to do? Okay, so I want to get out of the way. I want to hide. I want to run.
Yeah.
Okay, so the GM controls the span of time constantly.
Mm.
So the GM can make things as sort of minuscule or as large as they want in terms of how time passes. So, okay, so you want to run, you want to move this wardrobe, get behind it. I can do that in one roll if I want to. If I want to make it seem a bit more tense, I can do it in multiple rolls to
Yeah.
kind of create that sort of level of tension. But the whole dice mechanic in Blades in the Dark is what do you want to accomplish? And then we see how well you accomplish that. And that is entirely dependent on your role. If you
Okay.
fail it, you do not accomplish it and you take harm. And that's it. There's no sort of this does 3 damage. It's like, no, you take harm. You take
Gotcha.
1
Yep.
point of harm. If you then you
That's
take 2
yeah.
points of harm. However, you as a player can then go, I want to resist that.
Mhm.
And you resist it by making a roll, and that's going to cost you stress. So instead of having hit points, you have a stress mechanic, which kind of covers a load of things. It covers, how much you resist harm.
Yeah.
It covers any special abilities, and once your stress is done, you are out.
Yep. That's
Uh,
actually very, very much so kind of like how Haskell did it because it is. There's
mm,
no, like I said, there's no numbers attached to the weapons or the attacks. It's just levels of success in your role versus like stress, not points. They're little boxes. And like you fill out one stress per whatever. Unless obviously, like if you have a critical fail, like if someone has a critical um if it is a critical level opponent and they succeed against you and you fail to like resist that, then you're going to take critical damage, would be like 2 stress, I think.
mm,
But still, same thing of like it's about the level of success, not the
mm.
numbers, which for someone like me who's bad at math, I super appreciate. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
So another one I do like Delta Green's combat.
Hmm.
Although I think it could be explained much better in the book.
Hmm.
Because if you read it, you just kind of go, I don't understand how this can possibly work.
Yeah.
So basically, you do have an initiative, as it were, but that is a rough guideline because certain actions
Mhm.
can be taken out of an initiative, and that is what you are doing for that particular round. So,
Gotcha.
creature comes and attacks you. You can opt to fight back, which means you make an opposed roll. If you win, you do damage to the creature instead of the creature doing damage to you. However, you can choose to do that when the creature attacks you. So you can do it out of your turn, but that is your turn done for that round. However, that means that for the entirety of that round, you are fighting back. So
Okay.
anything that tries to attack you has to beat your roll.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So it just imagine it like same with dodging, same with anything like that. It takes you out of the initiative, as it were, but for a limited amount of time because that's what you're doing. If you are
Mhm.
dodging, you are dodging for the entire round.
So speaking of like mechanics when it comes to combat, like how do you feel about initiative? Like what's your favorite round control? We'll say crowd control round management.
To be honest, in terms of the traditional
Mhm.
initiative methods, I like Monte Cook's cipher system,
Mhm.
where it's basically either you go first or I go first. End of.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Either the players or the GM goes first.
Yeah. I experienced that for the first time actually with Couch and Fabula. And as a player, and this is not because of Fabula and this is not because of Couch, me, like I hated that. I hated the concept of like, can I go first? Can I like I don't know. That really like bothered me on like a I think I need to go to therapy level. Because there's actually nothing wrong with it. And that's the thing is that Household is like that where it's like okay, the GM's turn and then the player's turn, and the players get to decide who goes first. There's really no initiative and in a
Yeah.
classic term. As a GM, running it totally smooth. The players loved it. It was fine. There was no hangups. But as a player, I don't know why, but I'm like, I will never go first. I will never. Even if I have an amazing plan, I will never go first because it's like for me, it feels so uncomfortable stepping in front of another player being like, "Hey, can I do this?" Like, which I know is fine and healthy and people should feel like they can do that, but like there's something very broken in me that I'm like, I'll just wait. Like
I mean, I do like that aspect of Fabula because Fabula
oh,
is built in the similar vein to like D&D and Pathfinder, where like system mastery equals success. You know, the
yeah.
better you are at the system, the more chances you are of succeeding, and that transfers to the initiative in
Yeah.
Fabula, where it's like, okay, we're a team.
Yep.
We have to think about this as a team, right?
Yeah.
So you are guarding that person. So if you don't, if you go last, that means this entire turn that person is being guarded.
Yep.
And you think about it, you discuss it as a team, right? If I go first, I can heal you.
Yep.
Okay, cool. You go first. And you work at it as a team. And it does translate to when you're playing Final Fantasy VII or whatever,
Oh
where
god,
you
yeah.
can plan out your turns by no, I think Aeris should go last because she's a healer, so they can take up a round of damage and then she can and you kind of work on it and you kind of work together to come up with the best sort of tactic, as it were. So I do
Right.
enjoy that. I think it
Yeah.
works. Not necessarily. I think there has to be a suspension of disbelief,
Yeah.
but
Uh-huh.
it does work really well.
Well, and again, like as a GM, I loved it. I loved running a game with that kind of I don't want to call it initiative, but I don't know what else to call it. But no, and that's not the only game too. Craig's game, Shadowlight and Persona, same concept where it's kind of
Mm.
like it wasn't necessarily like our turn, his turn, but it kind of was, and he kind of like he kept track of just okay, we're gonna go in this order. Um, I think I have control issues. I think that's what it comes down to because I was like, I don't want to overstep. I don't want to understep. I'm just gonna. I don't know. It's weird. I'm a weird duck. It's
I was
fine.
looking today. I've been looking at the One Ring combat mechanic.
Yeah.
I'm a fan.
Yeah.
I'm a
Yeah.
fan.
Wait,
So
they're like the original One Ring, right? Like not. Never mind. Dumb question. Yep.
okay. So the way it works is it goes by round. So every
Mhm.
round you choose your stance, right? Your
Mhm.
stance can be forward, which means you are attacking. It can be open, which means it's a balance, or it can be I don't know what the word they use is, but it can be basically meaning a defensive stance.
Oh.
That will affect your ability to hit and your ability to soak
I remember
damage.
reading that. Yeah.
And I think, I was reading that and just kind of going, I fucking love that.
Yeah.
You know, so
It looks so
if
good.
you're attacking, it means that you're gonna be able to hit easier, but you're also going to be hit a lot easier.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I think it works really well.
I have never understood that in games. This is a slight side tangent, but like I was playing a Mutants and Masterminds game with another player. Like I was playing, they were playing different whatever. And literally he goes to grapple this guy, like an NPC. I don't know how many times the GM could have possibly said, like, hey, this is stupid, you're gonna die. But it was like he thought that grappling this super strong, like super powered bad guy was not going to affect him. And I'm like, if you are that close to somebody while attacking them, there are going to be repercussions. And it went like 3 of this guy's rounds of the GM trying to like hint lightly of like, hey, in character hint at like, hey, dude, this is a bad idea, before he finally like dropped massacre, horrible like repercussions. And then the player got upset. He's like, well, how is that even possible? I'm like, have you met real life? Like, it's just, if you're gonna attack something, you are kind of sort of like setting yourself up for, okay, fair game. But anyways, side tangent. But
No,
no,
I
I
mean,
love the One Rings mechanics. It's so good. So good.
no, I mean that's definitely on my to-do list.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think it's because I do like, I enjoy Tolkien,
Mhm.
but I'm not obsessed with Tolkien. That's kind of why I'm a bit.
I don't know where I fall in that line because, like, when people meet me, it's very clear that I like Tolkien. I don't think I'm obsessed, but then, like, things will happen and it makes me, like, very involuntarily happy or giddy, or my brain will like cling like Tolkien fact, blah, word vomit before I can stop myself. So I don't know where I am. Like, I mean, I have a bunch of like Tolkien armory in my house, but you know, it's everybody has stuff like that. Like that's normal, right?
I mean, I don't think there is. I don't think normal is a word really that kind of is applicable in any of these
That's fair.
circumstances.
That's
Normal is
fair.
what you make it.
That's fair.
If for you that's normal, then that is perfectly normal as long as you're not fucking harming anyone.
Yeah, no, no. No, no. I thought about it. Like I thought of being that neighbor that like goes outside when someone's being too loud. I've got, glam drink or something, whip out a sword, be like, hey, knock it off.
I mean, making people angry is my normal.
That's I mean, that's fair.
I know.
That's very fair.
It's the only way I get an erection nowadays.
Oh man. So
Ah,
I have a question and it's not related. Uh,
okay, it's you never know, it could be.
so we've talked about this slightly on show, okay? Slightly, but I kind of want to dive a little deeper into it. Like we've talked about what types of characters we tend to play towards. Like,
Yes.
you have a certain type you like to play. I try to make a completely different character each time, but they kind of end up having the same themes. Was the same character, different font type situation?
Mm-hmm.
I tried so hard, so goddamn hard, and it still is like, oh, okay, you're playing the dutiful daughter. I'm like, shut the fuck up. But anyways, so why? Why do you play the characters you play?
I think comfort to a certain degree.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's not a stretch for me.
Hmm.
Although I have been branching out as of late. Liberator's not a character I would normally play.
That's fair. Yeah, I can see that.
You know, Edgar in my Fabula Ultima game, he's not a character I would normally play.
Hmm.
Um, so I think it is a matter of comfort. It is, you know, an extension of your personality or
Oh yeah.
whatever, where you can easily kind of slip in and out of the role. For this other Pathfinder game that Winter's putting together, I'm coming up with something completely different that I would never really play. So I think for me now it is a conscious decision of kind of going, right, I'm going to go and play against archetype. I'm going to go play against my comfort zone. But yeah, normally I'm the wisecracking bard. I'm the chaotic.
See, and that's the thing is my personalities of my characters always change, the vibes always change, but the core value to that character somehow always stays the same. And it's almost like I always play the protector. And I don't know why that fucking happens because I'm a youngest child, right? That's not typically what happens with but I also had a very strange experience growing up, so I do not fit the realm of whatever stereotypical whatever. But that being said, like I'm playing a robot, right? Basically, think Iron Giant, but like slightly smaller. I think she's like almost 7 foot, with a lightsaber.
Yeah,
but she's a guardian to the princess, and then we're finding out that her entire race, which doesn't exist anymore, was some cleric type robot. And I'm like, I'm so for it. That's so cool. But then, like at the same time, I'm like, literally every character I play has some sort of guardian aspect to it. And I don't know why this keeps happening because I don't do it on purpose. Like I am very much so like, okay, Halo. I'm gonna play this like introverted, kind of like angsty teenager vibe young woman that's got this like whatever. But it's still got this like she's hella protective over the people that she thinks like needs protection. And it's annoying. It's super annoying because I will try. Like you said, I will actively try. Like, okay, I'm going to play a different character. Still the Guardian. I'm like, stop it. Like, I need to play some asshole and get it out of my system. I don't know.
I think it is just, to be fair, I think it's practice.
Oh, God.
Because I do, I think aspects of my personality always do kind of seep back in, even though I'm trying to play against type. My personality will always kind of seep through, and it's seeped through with Edgar. Liberator still hasn't. With Liberator, there is still I've still got a determined way I'm playing him.
Yeah.
And so far I haven't stepped out of that.
Yeah.
And then who else? Who else have I got? I had the character out of Craig's Shadowlight and Persona game.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That was very different.
That was weird. That was so hard to play at that table with you, John. I didn't know what to do with you. I was like, I don't know what to do with quiet, like polite John. Like I was like, what do I do with this?
That's it. And it was, that was massively different because it was like, why? Just not understanding the kind of the humor aspect and just kind of not getting roped into that.
No.
And even though my mind's kind of going, this would be so fucking funny to say right now. But I'm just kind of going, okay.
Okay, so there's one character that I was able to break my whatever you want to call it. And it's kind of like you said. So I was playing an alien, and she was the equivalent of if a shark and Spock made an alien baby together that was meant to be a serial killer, but was a doctor. Just, I know that's weird, but like,
I can.
I couldn't smile. Like I spent the entire like hour before game training myself to not smile because obviously like I'm a smiley person. You can watch any game that I'm in and I'll be in character and then I'll break it so hard and fast laughing. Like I'm a very joyous bound person. It was so hard to play her that after game I had to like, I don't say cleanse myself, but I did have to like break like some sort of like ritualistic kind of like, okay, we're gonna tell a joke after every game. Okay, we're gonna like, because it was weird and it was hard. Like I actually got into a couple of like arguments in and out of character in game because I was trying so hard to like stay in that mindset. That was hard. Like that almost wasn't even a game at that point. That was a mental exercise. Like it was hard.
But they're not. Those two things aren't mutually exclusive.
That's true.
They are mental exercises, especially, I mean, nine out of 10 people who play these games aren't trained actors. You know, yes, there are people who are. There are people
Yeah,
with
but 9
stage
out of
experience
10.
that bring in that bring it to the table, and that's fine. But at the same time, for us, this is a learning experience as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. I actually was on TikTok and someone was like, "Oh yeah, no, the people in this hobby, like, we have the upper hand because we're all theater kids." I'm like, not
No,
all of
you're not.
us. I was like, stop it. Like, stop speaking for the entirety of the hobby, okay? So, you know. But it's I always want to know the why. Um, to a problematic degree. It happens at work. But like people are always like, "Oh, I play like this. Why? Oh, I like this. Why?" Not because I'm questioning like the value or the good or bad of it. I want to know why. Like I would have been a good scientist, I think, maybe, as long as
That's
there's no
fair.
numbers involved.
But to be honest, sometimes there isn't a why. Sometimes it's this is the concept I had.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
this is what I thought of. And I mean, a lot of times my concepts come from maybe some aspect of popular culture or something like
Right.
that. Because Edgar was originally a pre-gen that I built on,
Mhm.
but I decided to make him very ecclesiastical, very holy,
Oh, interesting.
because I was thinking of the Boondock Saints,
Oh, gotcha.
like the
That's I loved our Halloween game for that reason. So I played my monster like origin was Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde.
hmm,
Um but it was so fucked up. Basically my character experienced a trauma that I'm not going to mention on a podcast, but that trauma resulted in her hunting down like a serum basically
hmm,
to kind of like I'm gonna make sure this never happens to anybody else. And
yeah,
so she serums up, she goes all hide. Um and it's brutal. It's brutal. It's
yeah,
so brutal. And that was hard for me because I always play the yeah, we're gonna go pulverize these people, but no murder. Like at
yeah,
the beginning of every game, I tell my GM, like, hey, unless I specifically say so otherwise, non-lethal. All my attacks are non-lethal. This one, I went to go smash, and of course Connell's my normal GM, so he knows I'm always like non-lethal. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go attack the other one. And he goes, attack him, okay. So you hit him. I'm like, no, I want to split this person in half. And the whole table just stopped and looked at me like, did Atlas just say that? Like, and it felt wrong. It felt wrong. But I was like, body parts were going everywhere. But it was fun. It was really fun. Can I say that? Like it's
yeah. I mean,
really fun.
again, Liberator for me is a character I've never played before.
Yeah.
Like there's been no iteration or any even like my most sort of ruthless, brutal.
Yeah.
There's always been an element. There's always been a slight element of um, you know, trying to do the right thing.
Hmm.
Whereas Liberator is going to kind of bring me neatly onto the next point I wanted to bring up. Liberator doesn't necessarily have that.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times when I'm making a decision as to how Liberator will react and what Liberator will say,
Hmm.
I am actually weighing up and just kind of going, why would he think this?
Yeah.
What would be behind this particular reasoning? And a lot of times when I do stuff, and I have done stuff in the game where you guys go, there's always a thought process there. It's
Yeah.
not, I'm not doing it because I'm embedded in the character. I'm doing it because I've
Yeah.
kind of gone, right, I need to think about
Well,
how he would do this.
yeah, I mean that's part of staying in character. Like that is one of the fun things that I actually enjoy about Halo is that a lot of the times my decision isn't based off of what it would normally be of like, okay, superhero situation, how do we superhero this? It's literally she is out to protect herself because she's not supposed to be there. Like, how do I get the fuck out of this situation? Now, what's been fun though is like as character development happens, watching that mentality change slightly.
Hmm.
But still the core thing is she's a character of survival. Like,
Hmm.
period, end of story. So it's been interesting watching that kind of like I remember my favorite, it's already aired, so I can talk about it. My favorite scene was when she found out there was something wrong with Liberator, let's just put it that way. And they were walking down the hallway and she's like, hey, so does everybody else know about this? Or is this supposed to be a secret? Like very much so not sizing you up like a threat, but kind of like, okay, how do I best use this to my survivability?
Yeah. Yeah, and that does actually bring me onto like um neatly onto the next thing I wanted
Yeah.
to kind of go over in the last sort of 15 minutes that we've got
Oh yeah.
is player knowledge and character knowledge, right?
Yeah.
Because in my Delta Green game and Impossible Landscapes, I've kind of gone to the table and just kind of gone, don't hold anything back. Don't keep a secret. Don't try and make a big reveal. Don't try and create a mystery around your character. Chances are they're not going to fucking survive. So if there's a story you want to tell it, you know.
Yeah.
And so how do you feel about that? Because obviously Liberator does have secrets.
Yeah.
There are things that only Connell and I know. So how would you feel as a player? Would you feel more comfortable, or would you enjoy the game more, should I say, knowing what the secret is so you can be part of that narrative and you can watch that narrative unfold
Yeah.
with all the information?
No.
Or do you want to just kind of be fed it sort of
Yeah.
piecemeal, as it
That's
were?
I don't even have to think about that one. I actually think this was a pretty hot debate on Threads a while ago. One of Connell's GM thoughts of the day. But like I know that's a hot topic for a lot of people where it's like there's no secrets at the table because it's so toxic and damaging. And like not if you have a healthy GM and player dynamic. If you have a healthy table, it's not a problem. I've played in several games where there are secrets like that. I don't want to know. I don't want to know the end of the movie before I watch it. I don't want to know the end of the book before I read it. Like I like to be able to look back and go, "Oh my god, that's why Liberator did this." Or like, "Oh my god," like that moment of like, "Oh, I love that." And if I already know Liberator's secret, which I think I do, that's also the a part of it is like me going like, I think I'm piecing the pieces together. Like it's so
I
fun. That adds an element to the game, but like
I guarantee you don't.
I
I'm
don't
just
know, man.
gonna tell.
I think I'm onto you. I would put money
No
on it.
one,
I
no
would
one
put
will
money on it,
expect
but
this.
I will never. But that's just it too. Like I will never force it. I've played with players like that where it's like the secret is the win. Like how do I win this game? Oh, I figure out the secret and I expose it. No, like that is on you and the GM's terms. I will even if I think I know it. I'm not gonna like project that anywhere in the game. Um, so like I like the secret stuff. I think it's fun, and I think if it's done correctly, it's healthy for the story and it's fun. Like,
I mean,
yeah,
I don't get me wrong. I do agree with you. I'm inclined to
yeah,
agree. First of all, Threads getting pissy about something is Threads. I don't
right.
give a
that's
shit.
that's not even Threads. It's the internet.
And they take stuff out of context. And
Yeah.
I secrets at the table can be toxic, but that is secrets between players.
Right.
where
Yeah.
it's where it's where it's on a personal level,
Yep.
that is when it becomes toxic. But
Mm-hmm.
however, if there is a narrative thread and just kind of go, okay, so this character, this is his background that I and the GM share,
Yeah.
you're not privy to that. However, I have recently softened my stance in the sense of stories need to be told. And
Well,
the
yeah.
problem the problem I found a lot of times with players having that obfuscation in
Mm-hmm.
regards to their backstory is that they are not very good at managing it.
Oh,
They are
yeah.
not very good at going, okay, so here's a bit of information.
Mm-hmm.
They do not know when to release the information. They do not release how, or they don't even know if they should.
Mm-hmm.
And then it kind of, to a certain degree, unfortunately, has to fall on the GM.
Yeah.
And
No.
like, for example, Liberator. I mean, yes, Liberate. We started out with not really knowing about each other, as it were.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
However, I have not. There have been times where I've kind of been a bit in like on the fence as to, do I share this or do I not?
Yeah.
And I will always go to, yes, I'm going to share it
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
because it's, a story needs to be told.
Well, but that's I agree with you 100%. When I say that like secrets are good, I mean like in the beginning. Like if you in your first episode, second session, whatever, decide to share your secret at the table, then awesome. That is part of the story. But like if it's like session 0, I'm making this character secret A, B, and C, just so you guys know, I hate that. It's like, don't tell me right out the gate. Like,
I mean, Connor makes a valid point in the chat where he says, I think the issue is that they want the GM and other players to dig into their personal mystery, but get pissy when they don't.
Yes. Yeah.
I, as a player, to be fair, don't particularly give a shit. You know, I mean,
yeah,
you have to make me want to give a shit.
My secrets are always part of my character. Whether that comes to light or not, it is my character development. It helps me play that character to tell a bigger story. If it is a secret that is part of the story, then that, like you said earlier, that's kind of on me and the GM, but on me as a player to implement that. Like okay, we are so far into the episodes that we could talk about Halo being psychic, right? Like my first session, I held off on that. I was like, she's just got these cool chakrams, it's fine. But then like that minute when I as a player was like, yeah, I want to scan them to see what they're thinking, and everyone's face was like, oh, like you know what I'm saying? Like it's like I said, healthy players make a healthy table.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like it's a breakfast commercial.
No, but it is. But you're not entirely wrong.
Yeah.
And you know, for me, I don't dig.
Yeah.
You know, then you know, so for example, you're a player whose character has got this secret. I don't let curiosity get the better of me.
No.
Unless I've got a valid reason for my character to be interested in what the fuck your character's doing.
Yeah.
Let's take Liberator, for example. Liberator does not give a fuck about who Halo is.
Yeah, which makes sense for his character. Like that.
Liberator wants Halo to do her fucking job, and that's it. That is the end of it. Are you doing your job? Yes. That's all. That's all that matters to Liberator.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't. You know, why is she doing this, or what secret is it? I don't give a fuck.
No, and that's the thing. Like that in character goes back to playing in your character and character versus player insight, because I know a lot of people get caught up in like winning the game, and I'm like, if you're going into a game thinking you can win the game, then you're not playing the game correctly from day one. Like there's no winning the game unless you're me, in which case I always win. I'm kidding. Okay. So humble. No,
yeah, but I'm always of the mind that I'll either be upfront and just kind of go, this is my character.
Yeah.
This is A, B, and C, and D. This is why they do the things that they do. And let's tell a narrative together. You will understand the choices that I make. And not only that, that when the GM and I have a scene, you will understand what's at stake.
Yeah.
If that's not the case, if I am at a table, then I'm going to make sure that I will give you that information.
And I think at that point, it's not even a secret. Like what you just described is not a secret. That is a storytelling tool, you know?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I mean, it's your character secret, but it's not a player secret, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah. I mean, like in the Delta Green game, it's like, okay, I need you to tell each other what your character is, who they are. And I've already found that there's a lot more investment in each other.
Yeah.
Whereas on the like whole nobody knows anything about
everybody. I'm starting to really not like game starts like that. Oh, excuse me.
It's, you know, it's when that happens.
Yeah.
Again, like Connell said, unless there's a valid reason. Yeah. You know, and don't get me wrong, I have known cases in the opposite where one player has a secret and then another dick player has to make it their objective to uncover that secret, not because of a character, not because of a character moment or a narrative, but because one player trying to outsmart another.
Yes, I lived that experience. I was the player with the secret. I had a dick player that was literally trying to ruin the game because they wanted to be that person that figured it out, and I'm like, you're not figuring it out, you're being an asshole. Anyways, sorry, I digress.
So, I mean, the story does end well, though. So, yeah, this player did that. They uncovered the secret. So then, you know, in a future game where there were two playing, one of them killed the other. It was the same GM for both. And he went, I'm going to allow it.
Oh, my God. I love that.
You know? He was a slumber witch who cast sleep on him. The guy fell, slit his fucking throat.
That's
There you go,
fantastic.
coup de grace.
That is fantastic. I have gotten to the point where I don't like the like you're all strangers in a tavern. I fucking hate it. e- yeah, I don't know. I like to have one or two players know each other, or one or two characters, or at least you're in the same town. You know who each other are. Like, I don't know who owns Frankie's, the pizza shop at the corner, but I know who owns Frankie's, if that makes sense. It's like I've
Yeah.
seen them around. I know their pattern. I know of them. I know what the town rumors are. Um, yes, thank you, Connell. And most of the games where the group is remotely established, there's like downtime to get to know each other. My current game that I'm playing, one of the three, is interesting because it taps on people knowing each other and secrets right now, because we all were children together in this cult like village. We all experienced the super traumatic thing of we all got possessed because we were the sacrifice to some demon, and then we were split up, we grew up, and then we basically kind of got pulled back. It's very like Stephen King
Yeah.
um but what's interesting about that is we all know each other's secrets, we all know each other's trauma, we all know each other. There's this element of like, I don't know who you've become, but there's this comfortability that makes the RP in the game so fucking priceless. Like, it is so much fun. Like, there are things about the game that I absolutely freaking hate, but I love the RP. The RP is golden. So
A lot of like games that I've been experiencing as of late
mhm.
do actually have that connection mechanic in them.
Oh
And
yeah.
I think it helps make a much richer experience.
Mm-hmm.
Daggerheart has one. What is it? What did I play? Kids on Bikes.
Oh, yeah.
Monster Hearts. All these games. It's like, okay, pick a character. Here's a list of themes. Pick
Mm-hmm.
one and
Yeah.
flesh that out. And I think it is a really cool sort of mechanic. And I will, maybe in future games, I will implement something similar.
Yeah, maybe.
Hmm. But I do believe that's pretty much all we've got time for tonight.
Oh my gosh. I didn't even know what time it was.
Yeah, I know it has flown by today.
Oh, man.
I just want to say thank you to everybody that's joined us in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we love you guys. We love hanging out with you, and it's great to see a lot of you. I haven't really been as active on social media for the past couple of weeks, so it is really good to see you. Atlas, thanks ever so much for joining me this evening. Do you want to tell people whereabouts they can find you on the interwebs?
Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. That's about it. Atlas Ursa, Atlas like the Titan, Ursa like the bear. Yeah.
As for me, you can find me behind all our social medias at Too Legit to Crit on Blue Sky, on Facebook, on YouTube. I'm also at natural.juan on Threads. That's where I'm most active. I'm also Natural Juan on Mastodon. So just come and say hi and tell us what sort of shit you got working on, because we're always interested in learning that sort of stuff. If you like what we do and you want to see us continue doing that, please consider joining our Ko-fi. $3 a month. It helps pay for costs. It helps kind of mitigate some of the money that's going out of my pocket month after month.
Yep.
You can also catch up everything we do at toolegit2crit.uk. You can ask us questions at toolegit2crit.uk. And most of all, I just want to say thank you to everyone who's taken time out of their busy day to listen to two idiots waffle on about tabletop role-playing games. Thank you very much. Good night.
Now, the real question is going to be is if it actually stops going live.
Yeah, I wanna wait. Wow, you're only
I know.
75%. You're only 75% uploaded.
I know. I'm having some like internet issues lately. It's
Apparently not.
struggling.
Apparently not. So I need to stop it.
No, we're still alive. Look at that.
Okay, so let's end the stream.
76%. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Like, I have perfectly fine internet, but